Welcome to Sleepy Tales. My name is Mateus, and before we begin today's story, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to our channel and leave a comment below saying, "I'll sleep well tonight." Now, sit back, relax, and let's dive into tonight's tale. Julia sat in her English class, tapping her pencil against her desk as her teacher droned on about the symbolism in To Kill a Mockingbird. She had just checked her phone and saw a message from her friend, Sarah, locked down at school. They say someone's missing. Julia's heart raced as she looked around the room. The windows were covered with black paper, so she couldn't see outside. She heard the sound of footsteps in the hallway and the click of locks on the classroom door. Her teacher's face went pale as he rushed to shut the blinds. "Everyone stay quiet and stay in your seats," he whispered urgently. Julia could hear her classmates breathing quicken as they huddled in their seats. She pulled out her phone again, hoping for an update from Sarah. But there was nothing. Only silence and the sound of her own heart pounding in her chest. As the minutes ticked by, Julia started to feel a creeping sense of unease. She couldn't shake the feeling that something was very wrong. And then, she heard it. A whispering voice, barely audible, coming from outside the classroom door. She leaned in to listen, straining to hear what was being said. But the words were muffled and indistinct. Suddenly, there was a loud banging on the door, and Julia and her classmates jumped in their seats. "Police! Open up!" a voice shouted. The teacher rushed to the door and opened it, revealing a group of police officers with guns drawn. "Everyone stay calm," one of the officers said. "We're looking for a missing student. We need to search the school." The officers fanned out into the hallway, searching every nook and cranny of the school. But as they searched, strange things began to happen. Julia saw shadows moving across the walls, heard whispers in the corners of the room. And then, she saw it. A ghostly figure, pale and shimmering, standing at the end of the hallway. She blinked, and the figure was gone. But the sense of unease grew stronger with every passing moment. And then, the power went out. Julia and her classmates were plunged into darkness, the only light coming from the emergency exit signs. They huddled together, hearts racing, as they listened to the sounds of the officers searching the school. And then, they heard something else. A low, mournful chanting, coming from somewhere deep within the school. The chanting grew louder and more insistent, until it was almost deafening. Julia covered her ears, trying to block out the sound. And then, just as suddenly as it had started, the chanting stopped. The power flickered back on, and the officers returned to the classroom. "We couldn't find anything," one of them said. "We're going to keep searching, but we need you to stay put for now." Juliet and her classmates nodded silently, still too scared to speak. As they waited, Julia noticed something strange happening to her hands. They were becoming translucent, fading away into nothingness. She looked around and saw that her classmates were looking at her with expressions of shock and horror. And then, the truth dawned on her. She was dead. She had died in the school lockdown, and her spirit was trapped there forever. She tried to scream, but no sound came out. Julia had always been fascinated by the supernatural, but she never thought she would become a part of it. Now, she was doomed to wander the halls of the school as a ghost, haunting the living for eternity. She watched in despair as the living students and teachers went about their daily lives, oblivious to her presence. Years went by, and the school went through many changes. It was renovated, repainted, and even had new students come and go. Julia watched it all from the shadows, feeling more and more isolated with each passing day. But then, one day, something strange happened. A new student arrived at the school, a girl with bright green hair and a mischievous grin. Julia watched as the girl explored the school, poking her head into classrooms and peering through windows. And then, the girl stopped in front of Julia's old English classroom. She looked directly at the spot where Julia was standing and smiled. "Hey there," the girl said. "I know you're here. I can feel it." Julia couldn't believe it. After all these years, someone could finally see her. The girl walked over and sat down next to her, grinning. "Let me guess," she said. "You're the ghost of the school lockdown, right?" Julia nodded, still in shock. "Well, I've got a proposition for you," the girl said. "I'm starting a paranormal investigation club, and I could use your help. Think you're up for it?" Julia couldn't believe her luck. She had spent so long feeling isolated and alone, but now she had found someone who not only believed in her, but wanted to work with her. And so, Julia joined the Paranormal Investigation Club, helping the girl and her friends uncover the mysteries of the school's past. They discovered that the school had been built on the site of an old cemetery, and that the missing student from the lockdown had been possessed by an angry spirit. With Julia's help, the club was able to perform a ritual to banish the spirit and bring peace to the school. And Julia finally found the sense of purpose and belonging she had been searching for all along. As the years went by, the Paranormal Investigation Club became a fixture at the school, passing down their knowledge and traditions to new generations of students. And Julia remained a part of it all, watching over the school she had once been trapped in and helping those who needed her. In the end, Julia had discovered that being a ghost wasn't so bad after all. As long as there were people who believed in her and valued her, she knew that she would always have a place in the world, even if it was in the shadows. Thank you for listening to this bedtime story, and remember, if you struggle with falling or staying asleep at night, click on the first link in the description for the ultimate solution to your problem. Now, choose one of these two videos and continue on our journey in the world of bedtime stories.